Welcome to Two Nobodies with the Mic.
Consider you're safe. Great job, 49ers.
The five best players ever in the NBA, Kobe Bryant is not one of them.
Bravo, you can't say anywhere that he doesn't belong in the league. Give me that amount of money, and I'll do whatever you want me to do. Josh Allen will never make the playoffs again.
The SEC is straight trash.
This fool was a crumb buff.
Oh, he was in one of those vests? Yeah. What's up, everybody, and welcome to Two Nobodies with the Mic, episode 125. Guys, we are live on YouTube, live on Instagram. Thank you guys for joining us. Another beautiful Wednesday here in Southern California, also via Austin, Texas. Let's get into our introduction, guys. We have in the center Eddie Money, executive producer. What up, man?
What's up?
How you doing? Pistons looking good, man. They're
looking
deal.
better than everyone thought they would. Finally turning around.
What a turnaround. What a turnaround. And then we have part of the family at this point, host of Athlete to Athlete podcast, host of Intermat Wrestling podcast, a true journalist, makes our show look legit. Also, a nephew of the late great heavyweight champion of the world, Larry Holmes, champion for, I believe, 7-8 years. We have Ryan Holmes in the house. Everybody, give Ryan applause for joining us. Thank you,
Appreciate
Ryan,
you,
man.
fellas. Good to be back. I figured it was my hiatus was needed because it was hard to face me after I called who was going to win the Super Bowl 2 weeks before it happened. I get it. Not everybody wanted to listen.
Dude, Ryan, luckily you're not petty like me, because when I'm right about something, I literally go back and message I'll do 4 hours. I'm like, well, how you like me now? Like, that's just the type of dude I am. But yeah, you got called out for that.
I got called out by a lot of people. I was a little petty. I did go back and I went back on TikTok because there was some Chiefs fans. There was a Chiefs fan that said even more that we can add to the video at the end of the year. So I asked him when the video was coming out of the shit talk. He didn't respond. But I did, go back and I was a little bit petty. So no, I can't say that I wasn't a petty little bullshit talker after the Chiefs were slaughtered by them Eagles. And so it happens, but it is what it is. They just celebrated Saquon as well as the rest of the team, mostly Saquon, back in my hometown. My uncle was taking pictures with him, so it was awesome. Big old party back in the Lehigh Valley.
Yeah, we could always talk that Super Bowl. That's always a welcome topic on this show. It was a great day for me. I held up my promise. I went golfing, didn't see the first half, and then when I saw the score from like the 18-12, I'm like, oh, we're getting home. We're watching this, and then I watched it on a loop. I think I stayed up till like 2 a.m. and watched that freaking Super Bowl, but that was great. Guys, we are the gambling show of record. We're going to talk a lot of football. Football is king, and they're genius because we just had the combine. Now we have free agent frenzy happening. Everyone has hope and aspirations and dreams. So we're going to get into that. We're going to talk a little bit of NBA basketball. We have March Madness coming up. We actually, since we have Ryan Holmes here, who is, a journalist for Intermat Rankings and Intermat Wrestling, we're going to talk a little bit of Mat Madness. If for you guys who don't know, it is the big dance for the wrestlers and 10 weight classes, 33 spots per weight class, and it is a show. And this year it's going to be in Philly, and it's going to be great, man. So we only have one rule on this show, and that is not to be a loser, right? Don't gamble away. Be responsible with your funds. Have your units ready and stay true to those things. But we're going to talk gambling. We're going to talk whatever you like. And it's interactive. So we invite you guys to ask us questions, talk your shit. That's what we love when you guys interact with us. So that being said, let's get into You're Fired. Every week we hire or fire someone. If someone is grinding your gears or you want to give someone their flowers, now is the time to do it. Let us know who you want to hire or fire. Who wants to start off with your fired?
I'll start. I'll start. You said we're gonna get into a little bit of wrestling. So I will start off with some wrestling. We're
Nice.
19 minutes away from the selection show where they release the brackets and all the seeds for the NCAA tournament. And as you know, allocations come out earlier this week. I believe it was yesterday. People start kind of looking into one specific wrestler over the last couple of days, and mostly because he is the Pac-12 champion. Now, most people think Pac-12, there's a bunch of teams. However, in wrestling, there's like 4 teams in the Pac-12. Tournament starts in the semifinals. So you win 2 matches, you're the Pac-12 champion. Some weight classes are obviously tougher than others. But at 174, there's a Pac-12 champion from Little Rock. And he is, I believe, 16-8 is his record, but he's a Pac-12 champion, won those 2 matches. But when everybody looks at his and the thing that we use called WrestleStat, where everybody's stats from all their years of wrestling are recorded on this website, and everybody starts to look and they realize, and mind you, I understand that there's COVID year and everybody has had, multiple years. However, for this particular wrestler, COVID year isn't part of his career resume and his history. However, he's now had 5 postseasons. So he wrestled the entire year. As I said, he's 16-8, and he is now probably going to be the 33rd seed at 174 if everything holds. However, I think there's some investigations going on into his eligibility, but I would like to fire the compliance officers at Little Rock. And mostly, and I love Little Rock. I love the team. I love the coach. Those guys are awesome. I think that they have, real good potential of getting an NCAA champion, if not this year, then next year.
For sure.
And they've only been around for 5 years. However, how do you miss that a guy was on your team for 5 years? And this isn't a coach problem. This is compliance. This is the athletic directors that need to look into this. And this is also NCAA, because if you're still competing at this point, this isn't anyone else's fault but the administration. So he had 5 years, and this was his 5th year, Pac-12 champion, and he may be getting pulled out of the NCAA tournament after wrestling an entire 5th year. But not only that, they may have to go back and maybe vacate wins or something may have to go on. But we'll certainly see here in the next 16 minutes when things come out. But 174, there's going to be some shit that goes on. And people are going to be unhappy, I think, when all is said and done.
I just had 3 people hit me up separately sending me the story. I mean, this is just breaking news, like 20, 30 minutes ago, something like that. It doesn't make any sense to me. I still don't fully understand it, because if he was, the COVID year is just so confusing. Like, my son wrestles for UNC. People still get it wrong. He's still a redshirt junior. You go to many different sites. I think on Intermat they have him as a senior. And I'm tired of correcting people, but it is really confusing with this whole COVID situation. So I hope, like you said, Yzerman, Coach Yzerman, great guy. I know who you're talking about.
I love Neil. Neil's awesome.
Yeah.
And but this isn't on him. This is definitely an administrative thing. And I don't know what's going to happen, but I got a text earlier where, I'm in a number of group texts where people are like, something's going to happen and people are not going to be happy. And I don't know if it's Little Rock. I don't know if it's, maybe a guy that had a chance of making it to the NCAA championships and lost to this kid, but people are not going to be happy about whatever comes out of this.
For sure. And we've seen this in other sports, right? I mean, God, at this point, we've seen 8-year seniors at Miami in football, and we've seen wrestlers. I've saw Stephen Miocic and Anthony Valencia, who I very close with and know their family, because of Olympic red shirts in wrestling and red shirts and COVID. And this is a crazy stat, but I believe Stephen Miocic and Anthony Valencia saw 3 different presidential terms
Mhm.
as in their wrestling career, and you do the math. It's like how's that
Yeah,
even possible? But
yeah.
it was.
When Miocic did it, it was pretty wild because he did his Olympic year, he did
Yes.
an injury year, a medical redshirt year, he did a regular redshirt year. So there was like multiple years in there where he was not wrestling and was exempt from it. However, this Brennan kid, there's none of that. There's no like his whole thing on WrestleStat. There's no redshirt years. There's no COVID years. There's no medical forfeit years. There's no Olympic redshirt years. Just 5 years of eligibility out of nowhere. And everybody's like, how the hell did this happen? And he wasn't ranked. So people like me who cover the sport, you're not really paying much attention because he was very much under the radar. It's not like he beat anybody to call attention to himself or anything else like that.
Yeah.
So yeah, very, very weird. But like I said, we'll certainly see if he is in the bracket, what kind of news comes out. That show is streamed on ncaa.com, so we'll be able to see the brackets. We'll see where Sonny is sitting in the brackets, what seed he got, and figure out who he's got first round.
Yes.
No matter what seed he is, he's number 1 in my heart.
Well, speaking of that, I let me give a shout out, number 1, to Jay Bird, our social media manager, the guy who does our memes. He actually just wrote an intro song for us that we're going to debut soon, hopefully. And he just had twins today, about 2-3 hours ago, boy and a girl. So his congratulations to you, Jay.
Oh yeah, Jay.
And his beautiful wife, Gabby. They have a boy and a girl. We don't know the names yet, but either way, congratulations to you, Jay. Congratulations.
Kobe and Kobeana.
It might be. Congratulations to UNC Wrestling and the program. They have 8 qualifiers, first time since 2021, I believe.
It's been it's been a while.
Yeah, Coach Cole and Tony Ramos, Enoch, Ben Darmstadt, someone who's
Chenzo.
I was gonna say Chenzo, who's been a real integral part in my son's success. They really created a bond. He's been really good for my son, national champion at Penn State. Congratulations to all the young men, and it breaks my heart for the 2 kids that didn't make it because they are amazing human beings and really good wrestlers, but only 33 get to go, and in the entire country. And I was telling Eddie Money, because he's thinking about going, it's a really cool experience. And people that go to the NCAA championship, you'll talk to a lot of people and they're like, this is my 33rd year in a row.
Yeah.
It's like going to a national championship game with 50 different university sections. It's just like crazy.
That's crazy.
You know, it's a really cool experience. And Sonny pulled it out last second. Let me show you. He called me down from the stands, and
that's cool.
Yeah, and he gave this to me. Obviously, Sonny was one of those bubble kids, right? Or bubble wrestlers, and he manned up and took an actual bid spot, and it was emotional. Let me get into my firing, because it was at Cameron Indoors at Duke University. Incredible venue. The history, man, it's just really, really cool. Even as I took a million pictures. The history, everything. Built in 1940. At the time when it was built, because I read every plaque and placard in the whole place like 30 times. Built in 1940. At the time, it was the largest dedicated basketball arena in the United States in 1940, and it's tiny. But the seats, original wood, not benches, but wood slate seats. Holy moly. 12 hours. 12 hours in those seats. ACC does their tournament in one day because they only have 7 wrestling universities. It was a grind. Holy moly, that shit was uncomfortable. But shout out to Jay, shout out to UNC Wrestling, and I'm firing Cameron Indoor. They're not just upgrade the seats. Like you're not like put some padding down, man. I know no one's meant to be there for 12 hours like we were, but it was a grind. Holy moly, it was a grind.
Yeah, it's like the first time since the 90s that they've hosted the ACC championship in wrestling.
Yeah,
In
it's
a very long time.
It's a small venue, but it was ACCs were lit, man. I wish Flo would freaking cover them, Ryan. They just like there's some really exciting wrestlers in the ACC, and it was a great day for us.
If I get some of the people that I've had conversations with back on the phone, there'll be some more coverage next year.
Ah.
I've had some good conversations, and now things have gone kind of dark because these guys are so busy. But hopefully next year there'll be even more coverage coming from a certain platform.
I mean, I hate to call out Flo like that, but I'm angry with Flo. They haven't had Sonny Ring all year. They just ignore him like he's not there, but whatever. But talking to someone the next day, he's like, you know, I get it. You're a network, and it's like ESPN talking Lakers and talking Cowboys, talking Big Ten wrestling is the SEC. Big Ten wrestling is unbelievable. But Flow Wrestling the last 3 months has been McCourt High School, Jax Forrest and Bo Bassett. And there's incredible guys in the ACC. But we'll move on from that. Eddie Money, what you got, man?
Firing. I'm gonna fire Stephen A. Smith.
Really?
And the reason is, so after that altercation with LeBron James, he went on his network, I think it's ESPN, and he was like, you know what, I understand what he said. Like, I'm talking about his son. He doesn't want his son involved in this. But then he goes on this podcast and is talking all big guy now. He's like, man, he came at me sideways. Like, he didn't know what he was doing, man. Like, I'll let him do that again. Like, for me, if you're going to say it, at least say it once and don't get your story twisted. Like, if he would have said that the first time, people would have given him more respect. But all of a sudden, like, he switched up just since he was going to do like a room full of dudes trying to like prep himself up. I think that's stupid, man. Like, keep the story the same or just tell LeBron yourself.
You know, he called out LeBron. He's like, LeBron has my number. He could have called me at any time. You know what? LeBron wanted to face you man to man.
Yeah.
Like, did you ever think about that? Like, he wanted to confront you man to man, not on the phone. And, you know,
Stephen A. forgets that there's a video of him hitting boxing mitts out there that we know he can't throw, that he's not tough. Like, just stop. Just stop. Like, he looked like a little kid, just as anybody else does, looking up at LeBron. And if he really, truly, and that's the funny thing is him going on all these podcasts and doing his press tour after all this, he's going to milk it for all it's worth. But like, come on, dude. Like, you're not that guy. No one is.
What you doing?
No one
pal?
is that guy that's taking on LeBron. Like, it's
LeBron
just not
James.
gonna happen. So.
Listen, here's the thing. I do sort of agree with this take. I don't think Bronny is an NBA player. It is what it is. It happened. I've criticized it. Stephen A. Smith is to me, is the only reason he's keeping, like, but he just got another $100 million contract for 5 years. Yep. He has that company on life support, man. ESPN is dying on the vine. And right now, they probably, I mean, they were so happy. They might send him to every Laker game. They might get him front row seats.
Right? Everybody's watching now. Yeah. Everybody wants to watch Stephen A. and how he responds to everything.
Yeah.
The issue with ESPN is they only talk about the big market teams, and like they never resurface anything.
Yeah, did you see Charles Barkley going off on
and Charles had a point
on Perkins for sure.
Yeah. He's like, man, I'm moving to this network next year, but for right now, I'm not on that network. And this network only talks about the same 5 teams. He's like the Cowboys, Dodgers, Yankees, Celtics, and Lakers. They don't talk about the 1 seed, Cleveland. They don't talk about OKC. They just talk about the big market teams. And he was like, they just say the same shit, and I'm tired of it.
Yeah.
Well, not only that, he called Kendrick Perkins an idiot and something else.
He went at Kendrick Perkins too. He does not care.
Kendrick Perkins got to a point that's so bad that even SNL is making skits about him.
Yes. That's when you
When
know
I'm
you've
sorry, but
made
when
it.
Perk is on, I'm like, it's my cue to not be watching anymore.
Hey,
Like, I can't
man,
do it.
like-
I can't do it. I just can't do it anymore when Perk is on. And I mean, I think he probably has a really good basketball mind. He obviously knows more about basketball than I ever will. But like as a talking head,
Yeah, it's
like
terrible.
no, like I can't do it. I just can't do it.
Every time I see Kendrick Perkins on NBA Live, I gotta check the guide and make sure I'm not watching NFL Live. His doppelganger is the Cowboys. I forget his name, but played for LSU D lineman. I'm like, because he looks like a freaking D lineman at this point. It looks
Oh
like
yeah.
played D tackle. I forget his name, but anyways, those are your hirings and firings. Any other shout outs you want to give? I want to give a shout out to Will Hanley. I sent out your gear yesterday. I hope you receive it. Big Vern got your gear is out in the mail yesterday.
Also, shout out Kobe Morales. Went to the lineup for spring training on Monday. In his one at bat, got a home run, 2 RBIs. Keep balling. Will be the only jersey I ever own.
Kobe Morales. They were the 3 Musketeers. It was Eddie Money, my son Sonny, and Kobe Morales. Kobe Morales, stud baseball player, got drafted to the Yankees, and he is rising like a rocket through their system. And he has that size. He passes the eye test, right? Eddie Money for I mean, he's not as big as Judge and Stanton, but
he's up there though.
He's a big boy.
It's pretty dope.
Yeah, pretty cool. I have a Yankees jersey because of him.
Oh, that's true.
So that's that. Anyway, let's get into the king of all kings, NFL.
Jump right into NFL.
Ton of stuff to talk about.
The transactions are endless, but to start it off with our team, the Raiders made a big splash. They traded for a quarterback finally. They gave up a 3rd round for Geno Smith. And we also signed Jeremy Chin. But since then, they've gone silent and just have gotten a couple low-key re-signings. But besides that, not really bringing in anyone new.
Well, I mean, listen, they I should fire my friends who are also Raider fans. When you're a fan, and Rafa will say this, you're a fanatic. These guys get so attached to the names. Like I have some buddies that if you were drafted by the Raiders or you donned the silver and black, they put it's like having, you guys have heard of parent goggles, right? You get those parent goggles and they're like, these guys were so good. Robert Spillane and Divine Diablo and Nate Hobbs and Morig. They were good players. Okay. But we didn't overpay them. We brought in replacements, saving money. Much cheaper. Obviously there is still a lot of work to do, but Ryan, I'm going to ask you right away your thoughts on the Geno Smith trade and getting him for a 3rd round pick. You think
it was surprising, but an unsurprising pair, right? Because they obviously have some chemistry, him and Pete Carroll. So I think that's also what Pete Carroll wanted, is a guy that he's used to and he's got chemistry with. And he didn't want to go the Russell route, like didn't want to make that happen because who knows what's happening with Russ, right? In Pittsburgh, it's like they're like 70-30, like 70% is Aaron Rodgers, 30% is Russell Wilson. So I wasn't, like I said, I was surprised that happened. But then when you see the story that came out of the Seahawks were trying to pay him like $40 million a year and he wasn't, with that, they were like, okay, well then we got to shop him for somebody else. And I also think that the Seahawks had their eye on Sam Darnold too. And it was like, if Geno doesn't take this is the route that we want to go. And they were already ready to make that happen because you could see like only a couple of days later and signed. So I'm not too surprised. I'm happy you guys have a serviceable quarterback that can throw the ball finally, but I think he's a transition. He's a transition is what he is. He's not your franchise guy for like 2-3 years. I think that your franchise guy will come in free agency, if not next year, then the year after.
You know,
Do
he.
Do you
he's
think
one
that
of-
we draft someone this year still, and then they sit a year under him?
The better question is this:
kind of what the Falcons did. So everybody's
be-
taking what the Falcons did last year after they
No.
lambasted them, right? Like, so the Falcons looked pretty dumb last year. Everybody's like, "What the hell are they doing signing Kirk Cousins?" I get that the deal for Geno isn't as much as the deal for Kirk Cousins, but I also think that they didn't like. Kirk Cousins has been statistically better than Geno Smith over his time in the NFL. So his contract is going to look like shit when Kirk doesn't pan out. But that model is what you're going to see so many teams do this year. They are like, I guarantee you the Seahawks also try to take a quarterback at some point in the draft to get
They have
somebody
to.
behind Darnold. Like, I think, and so it's gonna be really funny how everybody switches up. It's gonna be real funny how everybody switches up this year, and everybody switched up pretty quickly. That's the card you need right there. And I'm telling you, as soon as this free agency, I'm fingers crossed, toes crossed, all of it. I'm hoping that the Falcons are. I know the Falcons are going after Trey Hendrickson. The Bengals are playing hardball right now, but I'm telling you, the model that everybody's going to be kind of using this year is what the Falcons did last year, and it's going to be repeated a number of times during the draft. When a quarterback gets drafted, when Darnold now has his successor right behind him, just in case he doesn't pan out, they're going to talk about what the Falcons did, signing Kirk Cousins in free agency and picking up Michael Penix. So you're welcome to the entire
I can't
NFL.
believe you're taking credit for this. shit.
this.
You're welcome. I'm glad that you guys finally see the light and that we weren't crazy in Atlanta last year for doing what we did. And no, you can't say that this is the Green Bay model, because the Green Bay model, they were taking quarterbacks very late in the draft. These quarterbacks are going to be taken early because it's a terrible quarterback draft and there's not a lot of them that are serviceable. So these guys, just like the Falcons did last year, with the foresight that they had, knowing this year's draft was not going to be good for quarterbacks, took a guy early. And you're going to see more teams do that this year, as well as signing a quarterback in free agency if they can.
Ryan Holmes did say, he said all the quarterbacks in this draft besides Cam Ward are backups.
I did say that.
Well, you brought up Trey Hendrickson. I had written something down. Would you, if you're the Raiders, give away your first round pick, number 6 overall, for Trey Hendrickson, the leader in sacks? Not just the leader in sacks.
No.
I believe he by like 4 sacks. You would not do that?
No.
No.
You're going to give up a 6th pick and then still have to pay him when you already have Crosby and Wilkins, and like the other edge is not your main problem.
Yeah, defense is not your issue. Like you're basically, so you basically have
You're
a
shooting yourself in the foot again.
Yeah, you have a full cup. You got a full cup of water on the counter, and you're going to continue to
Just spill
pour.
it.
That's the dumbest. That's the dumbest shit
listen,
ever.
Pete's a defensive guy. You can't get great on both sides of the ball in one offseason, but you can get elite on one side of the ball in one off season. And Pete is a defensive guy.
You sure
I'm
about
just-
that?
I mean, I would
Sure
love
about that?
I would love for it to happen. We're talking about
You know
4
who
or
you know
5
who did it?
Don't. Oh well.
Super Bowl champion Eagles. They did it.
Oh.
They did it in free agency. They picked up the running back that they needed, and they
True.
picked up the defensive players that they needed. And I just heard today they have 20 picks with the compensatory picks that they have over the next couple years.
Damn.
20.
All Georgia
someone-
players, by the way.
And they're coming, and there's more coming because they got rid of Sweat. They got rid of like a number of guys. So
Yeah.
there's more picks coming because they're probably going to get rid of even more guys in the next year or so. They just reload on young talent, and
Man,
they
that
also
GM.
paid Saquon. So Saquon is there. Listen, the Eagles, they got a pretty damn good formula, man, and they got a really young team. They just got rid of Slay today. They got rid of CJ,
Yeah.
GJ. Like all these guys are now gone, and the youth movement is coming into the Eagles. You saw how well it worked out for them. So you can do that in an offseason with the draft if you draft right. And I mean, let's call it what it is, though. They kind of caught lightning in a bottle with Saquon being let go from the Giants. So that was luck, but you can do it. And they did it last year.
But they were already a playoff team. They were already, a top.
They were a
10
playoff team, but they were a turmoil playoff team. They
weren't
like
contenders.
Everybody was waiting for the other shoe to drop last year. They were like, the Eagles are 10-1. Have you watched them play? Like it was literally what we saw from the Chiefs this year, where everybody was waiting for the other shoe to drop. And then once it did, they were like, okay, finally, like, man, it's been, we've been holding our breath watching the Eagles all year because they're just flying so damn close to the sun. And then it did, and nobody was surprised. But this year they reload, they recalibrate some things, and they're Super Bowl champions.
Yeah, someone sent me that 3-4 hours ago. He's the best GM. Howie, I forget his name. Best GM in the game. Yeah. Best GM in the game, hands down. Have hit on so many draft picks, and I believe they're like the second youngest team now in the NFL, and it's a young
Tons
man
of youth.
sport. Not only do they have 20, because I heard that as well, Ryan. Not only do they have 20 picks in the next two drafts, but 11 in the next two drafts in the top 100 picks.
Mm-hmm.
And if you keep hitting on their picks,
even if you just hit like one or two a draft.
The one that kills me is Jalen Carter, because we Raiders drafted Tyree Wilson, who, I hate to talk shit about professional athletes, but he's just not him. I've never seen a defensive lineman get off the ball slower. It's almost like he's glitching. It's like literally a half second slower off the ball. It's the oddest thing I've ever seen. And Jalen Carter was right there. And we all know what Jalen Carter did this year. He was a wrecking machine.
Beast.
So
Hakeem the Dream said a GM is more important than a head coach in modern NFL.
You know what? I'm not going to disagree with that, man. I really am not going to disagree with that. If because of salary cap, I mean, let's get into it right now. Let's get into it right now because let's get into, and I believe John Lynch is a very, very good GM. And I think he's making a humongous mistake. This is a topic on our show all the time.
This is a topic in Eddie's life.
Yes, it is. It is because I'm right. I don't care what you say. I'm right. You cannot pay. I mean, the memes and the shit coming out on TikTok, and this is coming from 49er fans who messaged me. They've lost 6 to 7 starters on offense. And I'm not talking about, a Debo. Debo, on the backside of his career, but you get rid of Juszczyk, you get rid of Huafunga, you get rid of Greenlaw. I mean, it's just the list goes on and on. And Ward, these are all perennial Pro Bowl players. And Rafa and we get into this almost on a daily basis. To pay a middle of the road quarterback $55 million. I mean, Patrick Mahomes and Chris Jones restructured their contracts today to give them $50 million of cap space. I would not give Brock Purdy $55 million. We saw what he did without an elite roster last year. I mean, just use your eyeballs. But I mean, it's a narrative, Ryan. It's a narrative. Guys are like, this is disrespectful, offering him $45 million. He was top 5 2 years ago in every category. He took you to a Super Bowl. I know the history. I was there. I saw it. And even back then, I knew he was a product of the best and most talented roster in the NFL. They, preseason last year, they were favorites in every single game in Vegas that they were going to play in preseason or before the season started. So it doesn't make any sense to me. I think John Lynch, Rafa said, oh, don't worry about it. They'll be fine. And now you're getting rumors of trading Christian McCaffrey. You gutted the team. You were good because you found a quarterback that was very serviceable and Brock Purdy, you did your thing. Great story, good person. I can't argue with the stats, but my eyes tell me he's not a $55 million quarterback.
It goes
Hakeem the
back
Dream
to
agrees with you. He says, "Don't give Purdy the money."
don't give Purdy the money. Yeah. This goes back to a couple weeks ago. I think it was around Christmas when we had this conversation. And I said the reason why he is going to get paid is the same reason that Sam Darnold is going to get signed to be a starting quarterback somewhere. And it's because this quarterback draft is not good. There is not a lot of depth in this quarterback draft. And paying Brock Purdy is easier than hoping and wishing and crossing your fingers that somebody drops to you in the draft. They're the guys that are in this draft aren't going to fall to the Niners. I don't even remember what pick the Niners even have right now, but they're not in the round of getting guys like that. It's not going to happen. He is benefiting from a quarterback draft that is not very good, and because he's more serviceable than some of these other guys. Plus, if they're getting rid of all these guys, the guys that they're getting rid of, I mean, getting rid of Debo, okay, I'm not really that concerned with getting rid of Debo. Debo's older, I guess I should say. Like, he kind of looks like he lost a step. Like, he had a lot of injury problems. So he has to kind of prove that he can stay healthy for a year again and be the old Debo, which I think he can do, but it's not going to be easy, right? But like, Brock Purdy's going to get paid money because of his history, one, and because there's not there. Who are they going to bring in? Who, like, any of these guys that they truly have their eye on that has any sort of chemistry with the person calling plays? No one. He doesn't want to start over right now. He wants I guarantee you they probably will take a quarterback, but they're going to take him late. They're going to get better skill players early. Yeah, they're going to get somebody that is a successor, but yeah.
11.
So Jackson Dart, here you go.
Listen, that was an over-under bet. I said about a month ago, I bet that Jackson Dart will go 12th or higher.
I remember you said that. I was on the show that day.
And I really feel, I'm going to say another name that, I'm a big combine guy that I think is going to shock a lot of people and had a great combine and is interviewing well. His name is Tyler Shough. It's spelled weird, but it's pronounced Shuck. The Louisville quarterback. Okay. 6'5", 225, transferred a couple of different places.
Yeah, I did see some hype about him.
He's married. The dude just seems like, to me, don't be surprised if this guy goes in the top 3 rounds and this could be a Tom Brady type dude.
Wow. That is.
I'm not saying
like diamond in the rough.
I know what I'm saying. Like, Tom Brady is gonna like this kid. I'm not saying he'll be Tom Brady. I'm saying that he's mature. He's gonna come in. He's had 5 different offensive coordinators. He's been through 5 different systems, which means he knows all the verbiage. He's been in a pro style 5-step, 7-step drop back system, and I think this Tyler Shough kid. Watch out, man. He's going in the top 3. And but to me, and I wanted to ask you this, Ryan, now that we're on it, who do you believe? I asked Rafa this, who do you believe? Let's give it a 5-year window. We're doing the show episode 578, and we go back and we say, who is the quarterback that is most successful from this draft? Who would you pick out of this group? Man. And you have obviously the Cam Ward, Shedeur, you have Jackson Dart, you have the kid from Syracuse, Kyle
McCord,
Quinn Ewers. This kid. I mean, there's gonna be one, and I'm not sure it's Shedeur or Cam Ward.
Most successful quarterback from this year's draft over the next 5 years.
In 5 years, you're going to say, man.
5 years. I don't know. That's the hard part, right? Like I want to pick Shador because he seems to be he's got the accuracy, right? Like he can sit in the pocket and he can make plays with his legs if he needs to. He's kind of like Jalen Hurts a little bit, where you're like, he's got accuracy. He could throw a little bit. And, I think he needs to get into the thing is that we haven't seen him in a system without his dad. And that's kind of the big thing is like, how does he evolve without a comfort zone like that? Right. And he's a grown ass man, right? But like, there's still something to be said about having your comfort zone on the sidelines, talking to you when you come off the field, playing with your brother, playing with like there's just something to be said about that. So I think it's going to be Shador. I think the hard part for me with Cam Ward is his turnover troubles and having to be more cerebral and not just being able to rely on being a better athlete. Like we saw specifically last year when he was at Miami, where he was just like kind of a better athlete. I can get us out of this. So I think he's going to have to overcome some interception troubles and reading some defense troubles in order to truly be successful in any offense that he's in. So it's tough, right? Like Shador can certainly be that guy because of his style of play, but it's tough to say that it's him. Maybe that's wishful thinking on my part that I want it to be him. I want to see him actually succeed and thrive because, you're a fan of the kid. You've seen him be an athlete from high school to college at HBCU over to Colorado. Like you've seen his track, whereas these other guys, they're just the next quarterbacks in the draft to see how they do. So it's tough though. It like I said, it's not the best quarterback draft. And, I know that, the kid from Ohio State, he didn't have the best combine day, but it's also really hard to have chemistry with wide receivers you've never thrown to. So it just kind of is what it is.
Someone from Ohio State just wrecked my wall above me, and I just had a meltdown. But let me something just came collapse. Anyway, trophy case. Let me ask you this, because I have Billy G in the comments on Instagram, big Steeler guy from Jersey, and it's looking more and more like that Aaron Rodgers, I believe, will be the next Steeler quarterback.
Very possible.
I don't see. I know right now that Russell Wilson is literally on a plane to go visit the Browns, and then after that, he has the Giants scheduled.
Giants. Yep.
But I truly believe that Aaron Rodgers is going to be a Steeler. What do you think about that, Billy G? Do you think Steeler? It's kind of a weird fit.
He said 1 year, go get him. And he said, you got the gun show today. You're bringing out the guns.
The gun show, baby.
I think it's possible. I think it's pretty crazy, but I think it's definitely possible. I just think that Russell Wilson didn't do enough to separate himself from the rest of the pack. And I think that I feel like every coach, I feel like Aaron Rodgers, like Joe Burrow, is fortunate that they played in Super Bowls and they're what they've done in the past. And obviously what every quarterback does in the past is like the biggest deal. However, I feel like Joe Burrow and Aaron Rodgers are able to rest on that more recently. Joe Burrow came in, everybody thought he was going to be the Chief Slayer and everything else. And then since that Super Bowl hasn't been the same. Aaron Rodgers has not been the same in a very long time. Obviously he came off the Achilles injury this year and, things weren't looking so good. And I think every coach feels like they can pull that Super Bowl magic out of him when there's a lot more distraction in his life and there's a lot more things that he's entertaining that he wasn't entertaining back then. And it's going to take, and Tomlin's a special guy, but it's going to take something special to truly hone that in. And I don't think that an Arthur Smith style defense or style offense is going to be right for Aaron Rodgers, but I think that it's certainly something that will probably happen because Russ didn't truly separate himself from the rest of the pack and have them say, we're sticking with Russ and we don't care who else is out there.
I'll tell you what, I want to see it. I want to see Pickens and DK Metcalf try to kill that dude coming off a first quarter. I do think it's a good fit. I do think I've never, Russell Wilson was incredible. Probably should be a 2-time Super Bowl champion. But Russ has lost a lot of respect in the NFL, or I don't know, moxie, whatever you want to call it. But Aaron Rodgers in the Steel City with that, coming from Pennsylvania and Pittsburgh, they, the steel worker, blue collar, it sort of doesn't fit the mold, Aaron Rodgers, West Coast elitist, conspiracy theorist, ayahuasca.
Yeah, it's different.
I'm here for it, man. I want to see it. I want to see it.
I'm going to pause you real quick. Your boy gets the 25 seed. His first bout is against Joey Blaze from Purdue, so tough ass. Joey Blaze is pretty good, but Joey Blaze the 8 seed. Sonny got the 25. He's about 78, so he's on the top half of the bracket at 57, which the top half of the bracket is. Trying to see, it doesn't look too bad, but the bottom half has some stuff. Oh yeah, they're gonna be. That's what I was being told. So the reason that people were that I was told that 57 is gonna piss some people off is because I was Ja'Cory Teamer, got the 18 seed.
What?
And he will have Meyer Shapiro most likely in his second bout, the number 2 seed. So we're going to see Meyer Shapiro versus Ja'Cory Teamer in the second bout of the tournament. That's going to be big. That's going to be huge. Ja'Cory Teamer is returning NCAA runner-up. He got the 18 seed.
Insane. So I told my wife, I really thought that was going to be Sonny's first match. I thought Ja'Cory... And I thought 8. I thought the 8 seed would be low for him, but I knew they were going to try to ding him. I just had a feeling.
They did. 18.
But I thought 8 would have been disrespectful. I mean, who is he? He's only lost to the Minnesota kid, and
he's got 4 losses. He took some losses obviously this past weekend at Big Tens. He lost to Kasich, who's the number 1 seed.
Yeah, okay.
So he's got some losses, but like 18. I mean, he's 8-4 on the year. He didn't wrestle most of the season because of his injuries. But man, I did not expect that. I did not expect that.
I said I really said anywhere from 25. I knew he wouldn't get to 24. I said anywhere from 25 to 28 is where I thought Sonny would be. And 25 I thought that's really fair. I didn't see Joey Blaze there. Joey Blaze, pretty freaking good. So
yeah,
I can't believe that, Ryan. 18. Wow.
Yeah, that's insane. That is insane.
Disrespectful. Do I dare say disrespectful
to a returning NCAA runner-up? Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Regardless, like I get it, but that's not a bout that you want in the second round. You do not want Meyer Shapiro versus Ja'Cory Teamer in the second round. So, like, that's insane. That is crazy. That is crazy. Well, but, yeah, I figured I would pause and let you know where Sonny's at. He's in the top half of the bracket. He's got Blaze. Tough path, but, I mean, you gotta wrestle to win it anyway.
They're all, Sonny comes, obviously, from Ruben Valencia. And I learned early on, I used to go when Sonny was in high school. I'm like, oh, this seed sucks. We had to see this kid. He's like, I knew right away. He's like, Eddie, shut your ass. You gotta beat them. You gotta beat them all anyways. Yeah. Who cares when you see them? So Billy G, I love your confidence. Sonny got this 5-3 over Blaze. Stud. So thanks for that, Ryan. That's pretty cool. So back to the Steelers. And
I just don't think Aaron Rodgers fits in. It's tough, right? Because the guy that we're seeing now just doesn't doesn't fit. The old Aaron Rodgers, yeah, who was like hyper focused, from the hip, and obviously as a younger guy, you're a little bit different. I just don't see that it fits. But I mean, we'll certainly see. We will definitely see. And the other thing that doesn't truly fit for me is, why they picked up DK Metcalf. They're a running team, and now they have Pickens and Metcalf. Like, it's going to be a UFC fight to see who's running X and Z on certain plays. Like, it's like, have fun. I mean, I hope it works out. I do. I hope it works out, because I think both those guys are phenomenal athletes and phenomenal wide receivers. But like, it could be, that's a lot of ego in one place. DK and Aaron Rodgers.
Yes.
And like, that's a lot of ego.
Is.
So if you can manage that, if anybody can manage it, it's Mike Tomlin. But we'll certainly see how that offense gets balanced out, because Arthur Smith, as I know in Atlanta, he ain't that guy.
Well, I'm going to do it again. I got burnt last year on my over-under Steelers pick. I still believe in principle I was right. I had the under, and then, I said Russell Wilson will be the end of Mike Tomlin, but I think he got an extension. So I was wrong about that. But Russell Wilson, let's talk about him. Going to the Browns, going to see if he signs with them or the Giants. Where do you see Russell?
The Giants.
I think so too.
Yeah, I think he goes to the Giants. And I mean, he has younger wide receivers there that he can work with and kind of mold and kind of be the guy. Plus, I think that offense probably fits him more. And there's nobody there kind of looming for him to have to worry about. This whole year, he had Justin Fields that was also there in Pittsburgh with him. So there were, not to say that he gets worried about stuff like that, but when you're the guy like he was when he was in Seattle and he didn't have to worry about looking over his shoulder even for 1 second, he played very well, obviously. In Pittsburgh, he played well to a certain extent. I think going to Cleveland is going to be a little bit, would be different, because Watson may be out for most of the year, but there's still going to be talk of what happens when he comes back. Will Russ have to go somewhere else? I feel like he can get a longer term deal going to the Giants than he can going to Cleveland, with them also picking up Kenny Pickett just a couple weeks ago, or like a couple days ago. So I think a better situation for Russell Wilson is to go to the Giants instead, and maybe they build around him. Maybe they can, do a couple of things and win some games, but it's an easier situation for him. And I think that's probably what he wants, instead of having somebody that is on the same kind of level playing field as him in his quarterback room.
What else you got on the docket, Eddie Money? Oh, can't hear you.
To get into a little more, I'd say interesting signings. We mainly went over quarterbacks, but speaking of teams who need to do something, Chargers, they came into the free agency with the second most cap space and have done basically nothing besides signing Najee Harris and adding to that running room. So something's got to be going on there.
I think, it's actually par for the course for Jim Harbaugh. He's not about flash. He's not about style. He's about building a team from the inside out. Najee actually had a really good year last year. His feet looked really slow 2 years ago, and I thought he was going to decline. He had actually impressed me last year, but we know their formula. They're going to draft another 2 or 3 stud, offensive linemen. They're going to play good defense. Joey Bosa to the Bills, could not stay healthy. Khalil Mack, I believe, is still there.
Yeah, he resigned for another year.
Yeah, that one's a shocker to me. The two biggest losers, losers is a strong word, but the two teams that have disappointed the most are the Chargers and the Cowboys. This is 2 years in a row now that they're losing core Pro Bowl players and not adding anything. But the thing is, the Chargers had have money to spend. Dallas, obviously, the opposite. But what thoughts on that, Ryan?
Yeah, I was kind of surprised that they let Bosa go. Even though he hadn't been healthy, I figured maybe they re-sign him for a year and see if he can stay healthy. And if he can stay healthy and serviceable, then they keep him around, right? Like Bosa was a pretty good edge rusher for a while.
Yeah, elite.
You know what I mean?
Elite.
So outside of just like his latest injuries, I figured, if he's in your building and he's healthy, sign him to a 1-year deal. Like, because what's the worst that can happen is he doesn't produce, and halfway through the year before the trade deadline, you can get rid of him and chop him to somebody else, or he goes lights out like he used to, and you still have a really good edge rusher. So it is surprising that the Chargers aren't doing very much. Unsurprising that the Cowboys aren't doing very much, because this is what all in looks like for the Cowboys.
Crazy, man.
They do nothing. Last year, I mean, Jerry said it, we're going all in. And an all in was like, I'm going to wait to sign CD and Dak to these bajillion-dollar contracts that we now have to restructure a year later so that we can bring anybody else in. So it's unsurprising that the Cowboys are dragging their feet. It's literally what they do. So it just kind of is what it is. But the Chargers, they have money. The Cowboys are restructuring and trying to make things happen. We'll see what both teams end up doing. But I feel like the draft will be more telling, right, of like where they want to go, if they want to go defense or whatever else. But there's still a ton of very good defensive pass rushers in free agency right now that I'm sure are why teams like the Chargers, teams like the Falcons aren't doing anything very much right now, right? They're doing more letting go than they are signing guys, or they're signing very minimal contracts like the Falcons are with like some very low level guys. So yeah, that's kind of my take, is there's a lot of big time pass rushers in this year's free agency, kind of like it looked like last year with running backs when there was a surplus on really good running backs. Everybody was like, all right, we got to figure this out. Where's this guy going? So it's the same thing, right? Like there's really good D tackles, there's really good edge rushers. And that's where, like I said, teams like the Chargers, teams like the Falcons are kind of dragging their feet, so to speak, or just trying to do more work behind the scenes, because, the Bengals say that Trey Hendrickson is available. And at first it was reported that they were looking for a 2nd round pick. And I'm sure they got a number of calls of guys that were of teams that were like, we'll give you a 2nd round pick. And I'm pretty sure, as I said, like I'm a Falcons fan, so I know a lot of what they're doing that's been reported. And it's like 2nd round pick and a potential like maybe 5th rounder for Trey Hendrickson. And the Bengals probably are entertaining that. That might be the best offer that they've had so far, but it's not good enough for them right now, because I just read earlier today that now they're looking for a 1st round pick. So they're basically just seeing, who's going to give us the most, who's willing to give up, the lion's share. No one's going to give them a 1st round pick for Trey Hendrickson, no matter what. I mean, the only team that you might get a 1st round pick is the Browns, because the Browns do a lot of dumb shit, but you're not getting a 1st round pick for Trey Hendrickson right now.
Here's the thing with Bosa too, right? Is that he actually took a 1-year, 12.5 prove it deal, which
exactly.
It kind of shocking. It's like, Chargers, you didn't offer him that? I don't know. Very strange. Very strange. What else, Eddie Money?
Last thing to touch on, really, the Jets, they signed Justin Fields to be their starter for the next year. I think the Jets are a pretty underrated team in terms of being able to build something so quick, because I feel like the quarterback position is really the only thing they're missing. And if they can get Fields in some sort of offense that works well, they got a young running back in Breece Hall who runs very well. They have Garrett Wilson. They have some young talent on the defense as well. Sauce Gardner, Elijah Vera Tucker, and a couple other guys too. I think the Jets are pretty close to being a good team than most people realize. I feel like it's just the front office kind of fucking up their team.
The owner, because Quentin Williams, CJ Mobley. I mean, talent everywhere. But
CJ Mosley just got released, actually.
Oh, did he? Ooh,
Yeah,
on
during
to
this
the Raiders.
podcast.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow, that's a leader. That's a leader in the middle of your defense. No, so Justin Fields, thoughts on that? You know, to me, who's your best fit? You know, Justin Fields to the Jets, Sam Darnold to Seattle, you know, Rodgers to how do you like who's going to be the winner in this quarterback shuffle?
I think Seattle with Sam Darnold.
Really?
Yeah, and mostly because he's gonna they're gonna do more for Sam Darnold, right? They're gonna have to. They have to replace DK. They're gonna bring in some younger talent. And that's what I said about Sam Darnold. I may have gotten the team wrong, but I thought he was gonna go to the Giants.
Yeah.
Where they could either bring in another quarterback in the draft or whatever else. But I said Sam Darnold's going to be a starting quarterback somewhere. There's nobody else that the Seahawks are really going to take that's going to be a starter. So I feel like Sam Darnold is that guy. And now they can get some more pieces around him. And if he, if he's the Sam Darnold that was in Carolina and not the Sam Darnold that was in Minnesota, they can easily get rid of him in the next year or so. Trade him, whatever else. I think what is his contract's like 3 years maybe.
Yeah, but I'm sure it's those last years a ghost year, one of those type deals.
Exactly. So I feel like he's a good guy for a couple of years, but I don't see how it can work out this first year for Justin Fields, even though I think Aaron Glenn's a phenomenal coach. It's going to take a little bit because they're still the damn Jets.
What about Cooper Kupp? Cooper Kupp to Seattle,
could
Cooper
be.
Kupp, 12 games last year. I know he's had some injury problems, but Cooper Kupp, 3 years ago, Triple Crown winner. I mean, just one of the best receivers in the NFL. Rams just straight up released him.
And then signed DA for a bunch of money.
Yeah. That was shocking to me. But I do see, I heard that Cooper Kupp wants to stay, on the West Coast, but Cooper Kupp would be a good fit in New York. I could see him fitting in anywhere. He's that with the Patriots, possibly. You need to get some weapons around Drake May. But let me ask you this general question, because I just brought up the Patriots. To me, so far, they have won this offseason. Free agents, they had the most money, and I think they've actually spent really well.
They actually put it to use.
Yeah. And they're molding this team, but he needs weapons, Ryan. He needs weapons. Do you see them? Is it Travis Hunter? Is it T-Mac? Is it a Ashton Genty? Let's talk some little Patriots football. To me, we talked about Chargers and Cowboys being, just god awful. Patriots done some good things. What would you do next with the Patriots?
Genty. Vrabel is a hard nose, wants to just run through your face all day kind of a guy. And I think that he looks at Ashton Genty and sees that. And I think that's what a running back would do for that offense, is to get that type of guy. Right. And I think Genty's the guy for them. I also think Genty's probably the guy for the Cowboys as well. So, time will certainly tell, but I feel like Genty is the kind of guy that kind of fits with what Vrabel probably wants to establish and kind of get back, because you got to remember Vrabel was part of those bruising Patriots teams on offense and defense, right? Where they were going to hit you on defense and they were going to run over you on offense. And I feel like he's the guy that has that sort of mentality, and that's what he wants to bring. Same thing with what Chicago's doing with building their O-line. They went all interior in free agency.
Amazing
centers,
job.
Guards, tackles, they went all in on their offensive line. I think that what we saw last year from running back free agency and from running backs in general is what is going to start changing identities a little bit more and bringing that running back grouping back to the forefront. Because you've got guys, you've got Saquon, Derrick Henry, Bijan, Gibbs. I mean, you've got all of these guys that are running the ball very, very well, and it's allowing these teams to establish their passing game and hold on to the ball and have better possession. So I think that's what the Patriots' identity is probably going to be under Vrabel, because that's just the kind of guy that he is.
So that brings me to my next question, because this has been a big debate on this show, and Ashton Jeanty. This is one of the more talented running back classes that we've seen in a long time. It's either that or we finally, Saquon and Josh Jacobs and Derrick Henry have revitalized the worth of a really good running back. I'm not sure what it is. It might be a combination of both, that we understand, hey, running backs do make a difference. But it seems like, and this is the debate I'm getting into, I'm not sure Jeanty is the best running back in this draft. I'm not convinced. I'm really not.
It's probably because of the competition that he played against.
You have, the two Ohio State running backs. The Virginia Tech kid who ran a 4.3 at the combine, you watch his film, he's explosive. You have the SMU running back, Marion Hampton, North Carolina, the Iowa kid who I always say it. If you played football at Iowa, I'm drafting you. I don't know what it is about Iowa,
especially if you're a tight end.
Tight end, left tackle, they all wrestled. I think you wrestle, then you play football, and you kick ass. Espinosa from the Bills. I love Iowa players, but to me, I'm not taking Jeanty at 6. I do think he makes a ton of sense, like you said, at 12 for Dallas. I mean, I think that has to be your pick, whether he makes it or not to 12. I just think there's too many running backs to reach at 6.
Yeah, I think you're right about that. It'll probably be one of those Ohio State guys to kind of correct myself. Yeah, those Ohio State running backs, they had the competition. They had a style of offense that didn't just revolve around them, and they knew how to kind of establish the run. So, and either one of those guys, I think they can't really go wrong with either one of the Ohio State running backs. Jeanty will most likely be a Cowboy. That's probably what's going to end up happening. They need a running back. They need an explosive guy, and kind of tailor-made for their offense.
3 years now, they've needed a freaking running back. I feel like, maybe 4.
Cowboys are a business more than they're a football team at this point.
Yeah, that's facts. That is facts. Money?
I think that Jeanty anywhere in the top 10 is a bad pick, purely because of how good the running back class is and how good of a talent you can get with the draft class that there is. Also, I'm not even sure the Cowboys take Jeanty anymore. They signed Javonte Williams. So I think even getting Jeanty in the first round, it would still be a waste of a pick. Not waste of a pick, but not getting your best value out of the pick, in my opinion.
We did it a couple of weeks. We did it a couple of weeks ago where I broke it down per carry. Ashton Jeanty had like 374 carries. You look at both Ohio State running backs, they had just over 100, 140. Their averages were better, or just right up there. They had to split time. I feel, I would have loved to see Jeanty run the 40. And I don't know if the pro day has happened or I
don't think pro days have happened yet.
No pro days have happened yet.
SC had their pro day today. I was watching it live. I'm that nerd.
So did Georgia. Georgia had a workout today. I think there's still some pro days that are coming from some guys, but Georgia had a workout today.
I just, I would, if Jeanty, I think he's, 5'8", 5'9", obviously built like a truck. If he came anywhere within 4.45 and below, I might have second thoughts. I might be like, okay, maybe. I don't mind the height, but
I think Genty, if he does have a pro day, which I don't even know if he does, if he does have a pro day, I'm gonna throw a number out for his 40 time. I think he's probably under 4.5. I think he's probably like a 4.43 type guy, 4.46.
He will be
in that range.
participating at Boise State's pro day.
Yeah.
You know, because you have to, Ryan, for the program, you have to show up, because if
He is their program.
I know, but if you're down for your homeboys, if you're down for your teammates, you say, I'm going to be at the pro day, and then my 4-string running back and they get pro scouts say, oh shit, you do
More
that
eyes
for
for
them.
his teammates.
Yes,
Yeah,
you do
that's
that.
exactly what it needs to be. It's exactly what it needs to be. 'Cause he is the guy.
Yeah,
that's the only reason that ESPN will cover any of it. It's the only reason that a lot of you're not going to see all 32 teams at the Boise State Pro Day like we're at Georgia's today. We're going to see some teams there for sure. And I think everybody's going to be paying attention to if the Cowboys are there, if the Patriots are there, those types of teams. I think the Dolphins maybe even want to look at Genty or just kind of see, but it's definitely a reason for him to be part of the pro day, is because the rest of these guys need to get some sort of camera time and showcase what they can do in front of these scouts, because the offense ran through him. I mean, damn near 400 carries on the year. Like,
it's insane.
Nobody else besides him, the center, and the quarterback were touching the ball. Like, you got to have something.
I can see Genty to the Dolphins because they already have. I'm forgetting the running back's name.
Mostert?
No, he's a free agent.
Yeah, he's
right
gone.
now.
Yeah, he's gone.
The other guy
from Texas A&M, A-Chain.
Yeah, Devon A-Chain. He's like a receiving back mainly. That's how they use him. So if they draft Genty to use him as basically like the bulldozer for the other downs, I think that can work as well. Or they go with the system that they've used and just draft another speedy back. I think they go Judkins.
I don't think you can go wrong with him. Have we figured out the mystery, Ryan, of how Jalen Milroe's hands grew a half inch in 2 weeks?
That's insane.
Constantly cracking his knuckles every 2 seconds.
I need to know who's doing measurements at these places, because it's kind of impossible, right? Like his hands grew that much. That's an insane measurement for his hands to go from that to that, like be bigger after 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Somebody messed up and somebody's lying.
100%, because small hands and being a quarterback, it's a huge deal. And he didn't look very good, at the Senior Bowl. Looked a little bit better at the combine, but I still see his name, because I'm a mock draft fool, coming up in second and third round mock drafts.
Mm-hmm.
Do you see? You still think that's a thing?
Yeah. I don't think his hand size is really a thing, but he, like I said, the only guy that I see that is, and obviously I'm no guru or scout, but Shedeur Sanders is kind of the only one that I can see starting on day one. And no, it's not because his name is Sanders. It's because he actually has shown development over the years and that he fixes his issues whenever they kind of pop up. And you can get arm strength. It's really hard to teach accuracy. You can't really teach strength, right? Like you can get in the gym and get stronger. You can go to a throwing coach and everything else. Becoming better, a more accurate quarterback is harder than becoming a stronger throwing quarterback. So Cam Ward, being a stronger throwing quarterback, threw a lot of really, really strong interceptions over the course of his career. So I think Cam Ward will be very good, though. I do. This is not me being a hater. I just think that when you look at their bodies of work, you see a lot of interceptions for Cam Ward, and that was one of his issues that they have already talked about in the past. So it's going to be something to see if he overcomes that, and if he has been working to correct his accuracy issues and get better. And and then ultimately read a defense better and read a pro style offense, read a pro style defense. Cause it's not, I mean, there's not a lot of crossover when it comes to that from college to pro, because the offenses are drastically different. They really are. Like they help you read, but the game's faster. The drops are faster. DBs are way smarter. I mean, hell, think about the stories of Ed Reed literally playing a play wrong, incorrectly, to mess up Peyton Manning weeks before they played. Like,
Crazy.
That's something, I mean, Ed Reed is one of a kind, but like these DBs are just smarter. These guys are very smart when it comes to playing against these quarterbacks, and it's something that you're going to have to overcome as a rookie. So I think that Cam Ward should sit for a year or two and then come in and be a starter somewhere. But I don't think that he should start right away.
Can I run a conspiracy theory by you that to me actually makes a ton of sense? And I heard this, we didn't talk about it. I heard it a couple weeks ago about Shedeur. And I'll tell you why I do think Shedeur is going to succeed. And I want your opinion on my conspiracy theory. And I do like him going to the Raiders. And if he's there at 6, do you take him? But here's the theory, is that Deion has come out and said multiple times now that he would be open to coaching in the NFL only if he could coach his sons. And obviously it's, Shiloh will get drafted, whatever, but it's really about Shedeur.
5th round, he'll get drafted.
Yeah. And that's going to be a reach. But here's the theory, and to me it makes a lot of sense. If I am a team, Dable with the Giants or Cleveland or one of these teams picking really high in the draft where you need to win now or you're going to get fired, I would stay away. And this is why I think Shedeur might fall at minimum to 6, because say you draft Shedeur and you're bad. Well, then who's waiting and who said that he would come and be willing to coach in the NFL only if he could coach his sons? To me, I heard that. I was like, holy shit, that makes a ton of sense. That's why if I'm one of these teams and I'm on my last leg, like a Brian Dable, and the Browns coach has won coach of the year, but he almost got fired. I would be really hesitant to draft Shedeur only because I know that Deion is one step away from taking my job and coaching his son. Have you heard this?
I've heard Deion say he wants to coach his sons, but like, to take your conspiracy theory a little deeper, if that's the case, then most teams will stay away from him even more if that's the case. Right? It's not a case of like if they want to conserve their jobs, right? Like,
yeah,
let's not take a big splash. Like let's not take a big splash pick and then suck. Because if we take a big splash pick and we're not very good, I'm out of here.
Yeah.
That's potentially possible, right? If I'm Dable, I take him. I do. Because then you're like, listen, I want this kid. I feel like he can be a blockbuster move. I feel like he'll bring eyes to the city of New York. Not to say that there's no eyes on the city of New York, but
yes, get what you're saying.
He can handle it, right? He can handle all the craziness. He's had eyes on him his entire life because of who his dad is. He can handle all this stuff. And not for nothing, I'm either going out with my shield or I'm going out on it. And picking Shedeur Sanders would do that, because you can either be really, really good, or you can be really bad. So if I'm Dable, and he's there, I'm taking him. I'm not letting him fall.
Eddie Money, are you picking up what I'm laying down, man? Let's talk about the 6th pick. I think he's gonna be there at 6. I really do. And I
think it'd be a miracle if he's there at 6, personally.
A miracle, dude. I
Yeah.
see it.
I don't really. See it.
Really? What?
'Cause
Okay.
I think
Russell
one
Wil-
quarterback goes in the first two, and then there's just no way that he stays there for the Raiders.
Let's assume Russell goes to the Browns.
Yeah, I'm still taking someone behind him. I'm not like your game plan shouldn't be to stick with Russell Wilson for the next couple of years.
Oh, I mean, Ryan just took credit for the formula of the Atlanta Falcons. You sign a big free agent quarterback and draft a young quarterback.
Yeah,
I mean-
use that formula, man. I mean, it worked. And if you have the number one pick, I'm not gonna throw him into like just deep waters. At least let him learn how to swim a little bit, you know?
Are we assuming that Tennessee is just not going to take a quarterback? Is that just?
I'm not assuming that.
I'm not assuming that either.
I'm not assuming that. I think they could easily go 1-2 or 1-3.
I'm okay. I'm telling you, man. He's gonna be there at 6. Would you be upset, Eddie Money?
If we got Shador
if
or
the
Cam
Raiders-
Ward, no.
No, it's not gonna be Cam Ward. Cam Ward. I'm not saying Cam Ward will be there. I'm saying Shador will be there at 6. Would you?
No, I
would
wouldn't
you
be
take
mad.
him?
I would actually be very happy.
Ryan, you think that would be if he's there at 6? If you're the
If
Raiders,
he's
GM?
there, yeah, you take him. You certainly take him if he's still there at 6. You don't pass him
That's
up.
when
Yeah.
you pop your bottle of champagne, Eddie.
Yeah,
Your
yeah,
penny champagne.
that's when you
I-
that's what you do. I don't see, and that's the thing is you got to remember who's in that front office now. It's Brady. I don't see Brady passing up Shador. I do not see that happening whatsoever.
Yeah, that'd be that'd be letting your homie down. I think for sure. I think that's
Also
That's
be
the
letting
thing.
the
Yeah,
future down.
Cam Ward probably goes 1. I'll be very surprised if Cam Ward doesn't go number 1.
Yeah, I don't know who else Tennessee would take.
well. There's rumors that Browns will trade up to 1. There's rumors that Giants will try to trade up to 1. That they want, that Cam Ward's gonna go one way or another. Cam Ward's going the first overall. So
I definitely see it. Oh yeah, Matthew Rocha. Seeds came out for wrestling brackets. Sonny Santiago got the number 25 seed.
who's that kid? I don't know. I heard his dad's fucking loser. But anyways, so yeah, thanks, Matt. Appreciate that update. Yeah, that's gonna be cool. Anything else? NFL we want to discuss.
About all. Darius Slay went to the Steelers a couple minutes ago.
Steelers.
There's
Yeah.
Slay. D Hop goes to the Ravens. I mean, I love
The biggest picks have not, like, the biggest free agents, in my opinion, is the D linemen. They haven't gone anywhere yet. There's only been maybe one or two.
I was looking at that list yesterday. I was like, Matthew Judon's still there, DeMarcus Lawrence, you got Darius Smith still available. It's very, very talented free
I
agent.
think Judon wants to come back to Atlanta. I think he does. I don't think he wants to leave Atlanta. I think he's really happy in Atlanta with that defense. So we'll certainly see what happens there, and I hope he pans out better. It will be a smaller deal than it was last year. I think it was like 1 year and 10 million. I think maybe not even that last year. But I'm like hoping and praying that the Falcons get Trey Hendrickson. Like, just really, really hoping that they do. As soon as they said that they're going to make him available and that they wanted a second pick, I was like, give him the 2nd and the 6th and call it a freaking day. Like
He's a stud, man.
Take him. You can take him, and
nice.
He's a
He
stud.
the only other thing that I'm hoping is that Kirk Cousins ends up somewhere else. Because the
Outside
drama
of
that he's outside of Atlanta, because the drama that he's brought it's been horrible. I'm happy that he brought a ton of wins, but he also, brought a ton of bullshit with coming out and saying he was injured and making the front office look bad. And he went on a little press tour hoping that it would kind of throw a monkey wrench in everything, when in actuality it didn't. And they were like, yeah, we're sticking by our story. He never told us that he was injured, and we're okay with keeping him. We'll give him the extra $10 million to sit the bench. That's fine, because it then sweetens the pot against all these other teams that are probably going to need a quarterback, and they'll end up shopping him. He had a meeting with Arthur Blank, and said, I just want to go to a team where I can be a starter. And they're like, we're going to do what's best for the Falcons at the quarterback position. So like you have a no trade clause, but like, you know, we'll see what we can do, because you've already kind of shitting our Cheerios by getting our 3rd round pick taken with your tampering bullshit, or 5th round pick taken with your tampering. And then, you know, you want to come out and say that you were injured and weren't on injury reports and stuff. Like, it's 2 strikes, bro. Like, you gotta go at some point.
Are you hearing this, Eddie Money? The big Kirko slander? This guy 2 years ago was, I think he received not man of the year, but I mean, amazing person of the year.
He's a good dude, but he's a great guy. You know, he's a great guy, but he messed up. That's not like, I don't care whose team you're on, right? Like you come out and you say that you're talking to equipment people beforehand, knowing that you're
that it can cost your team a pick. What the hell?
Exactly. Like, and you want this to be your offense, and you're going to cost the team a pick before you even throw on the helmet. And then when things don't pan out for you, all of a sudden now you're injured after you had a 5-game skid. Like, if you were truly injured, instead of being scared of Michael Penix, say that you're injured. Say that you can't play if you're truly a team guy. He showed that he wasn't a team guy. He showed that he was a team guy once they made that switch, and he said he was going to be there. Yeah. But before then, he's like, I want to play. And I get it. But if you're really truly that injured to the point where you're going on a little press tour afterwards and saying how injured you were, then why didn't you do the right thing during the season? Be a team guy. You weren't really a team guy. So
I you know what? I'm just giving you shit. I totally understand what you're saying. It makes perfect sense. So Russell goes to New York, Giants. Big Kirko to Cleveland.
Goes to Cleveland. That's what the talk is that Kirk goes to Cleveland. And some of the reports that I had seen was that he would be in Cleveland by the end of the week, but I don't see that happening. I think the domino that has to fall is Aaron Rodgers. Once everybody knows where Rodgers is going, whether it's to the ayahuasca clinic in retirement or to the Steel City,
I think
everything else will fall.
I think he should be done with the sport.
You know what? He's still. I agree with you, but if you look at the second half of the season, he actually played well. I just think, like Ryan said, it's the Jets. It's the biggest shit show on the planet. You know, your owner, you fired the head coach without telling the GM. Like, I mean, just the owner is looking up Madden ratings and saying, you know, we got to trade for this dude. It's like, wacky.
Anyone
shit.
using the dorks that do Madden ratings as any sort of reason is just stop.
Who you calling a dork, Ryan?
Every single one of them. Ocho Cinco included. I know Ocho Cinco's a ranker now too.
I'm the one who does that. Is he?
Yeah.
Oh man, he's so good. So
we can move off NFL, go into either NBA or MLB. Up to you, Eddie.
You know, let's if we can we do 1 minute break? Can we do and then we'll go. Ryan, what do you want to do? Do you have time to take a 1 minute, 2 minute break and we do NFL or NBA? You know, not a lot. We'll go right into the LeBron debate. And then we'll cover something else. But if you guys could stick around, I got to make a phone call to some guy in Chapel Hill and just let him know. You know, I got to break. I'm going to be up, Ryan. If you have any film on Joey Blaze, you know, I'm going to be. You know, wrestling dads. You know, watch this. Oh yeah, we're completely insane, just lunatics. You know, but stick around.
We'll take
quick break. We'll be right back, guys. Hang with us, please. On you guys on Instagram, and YouTube. Be right back. What's up? What's up, everybody? Thank you for sticking with us. How's everyone doing out there? There's two nobodies with the mic. Episode 125. Ryan Holmes in the house. Eddie Money in the house. We just got done talking a whole bunch of free agency and NFL. Brock Purdy. We never got down, Ryan. Brock Purdy, you'd give him $55 million?
I don't think I would give him 55, but I think he's going to get it anyway.
Yeah.
Because again, like I said, quarterback market, not very good.
Garbage. Just okay. I could talk about that all day. But let's get into, obviously Ryan and I are, and if you look in the background, Ryan has more Jordans than Michael Jordan himself. We are on one side of the debate of the GOAT, and Rafa, our co-host, shout out to Rafa. He is very strong on LeBron, best player to ever walk the face of the earth. And I would never have moved off of that. But watching Luka Doncic come to the Lakers, and I've always had respect for LeBron and his skill and his basketball IQ and just a ton of stuff. But what LeBron James is doing at 40 years old is absolutely astonishing. And before he got hurt and the way he was playing with Luka, which I didn't think would work. I thought this is just a bridge to get the Lakers to another superstar, right? Like you know, how the Lakers have done it forever, Magic to Kobe, Kobe to, Shaq, whatever. But my question to you is this. If, and it's a big if, because, a lot of stuff has to happen, but the way they've been playing has proven me wrong. If LeBron James were to win a championship this year, I think it's up for debate again. I think, which I didn't think would happen, I didn't think LeBron would ever sniff another championship, Brian. I didn't even think he would sniff it. But there is hope now, Thoughts on, would you consider or reconsider the GOAT debate if LeBron...
No.
Just no.
And
You're not remotely impressed of how he's playing basketball lately?
that's a different question.
Okay,
That's a
fair
different question.
Fair.
I am always impressed by LeBron James. It's very hard to watch him play the game of basketball and not be impressed. However, I also watch LeBron play and say, what the hell? Because of his acting ability. And I'm going to go with the most recent clip that has come out, the phantom hit in the face with him and Jason Tatum.
Oh my God, so bad.
And I tried to, and knowing that we were going over this topic, I tried to do my due diligence. I'm an open-minded journalist as always. And I went and I did some searching, and people have tried to put some compilations together of Michael Jordan flopping, and they're horrible. They don't really exist. He literally gets hit in the stomach, gets the wind knocked out of him on a guy, and gets up and catches a rebound and runs it down the court, assist, and he walks off the court because he's still hurting. And they said he flopped on this play. And then, there's other plays where he's trying to take charges and sets his feet and goes flying and whatever else. But he's not acting like he got hit in the face. He's not acting like he's poked in the eye. Nobody wants to give him an Oscar for his ability to stay down on the ground. He hits the ground, he comes right back up. Yes, I add that into the GOAT debate because it is your impact on the game. Are you impacting the game for the better, or are you impacting the game for the worse? And I will never say that LeBron is impacting the game for the worse, but that is something that he and other players in this era have brought into it that have made it worse. And I cannot, for the life of me, give somebody the GOAT play, the greatest player of all time award, when you have brought something like that into the game that has everybody saying, what the hell is going on? So, and without Jordan, there is no LeBron. There is no Kobe, right? Like, and I get it. You can go back further than Michael Jordan, but the impact that Michael Jordan had on the game and the way the game was played during that era was just different. It was just different. And you had to experience it. It was just different. It was peak athleticism along with peak physicality. Now we have peak athleticism. That's it. The game isn't as physical as it used to be, and that's why the numbers dwindle. That's why they're trying to figure out how to make the All-Star game watchable again. That's why they have to go dust off the bones of Mac McClung to come do a dunk contest, because none of these guys want to actually compete anymore. It's a diva league. It truly is a diva league. LeBron has been the best athlete and best basketball player in the league for the 20 odd years that he's been in the league. Yet when he's in an all-star, he's not showcasing his skills. When he's playing against the best players, he's not showcasing his skills in a dunk contest. So it's kind of hard to give him that.
What about, would you say, I saw a video yesterday. It's about Jordan and him getting like phantom like calls. So basically just like a quick hand check, and then he gets 2 free throws because he's going up for a shot. and when he like barely touched him.
Everybody gets calls though. Like everyone. Like think about we just watched the Chiefs make it to the Super Bowl and get their asses kicked, but during the year they were like, well, look at all the calls the Chiefs are getting. When you are the best team, you're going to get calls. So you can't say that, you know, a team doesn't get special treatment from the refs or the league or whatever else, because they do. It happens everywhere. I don't think that takes away from the GOAT debate of him getting some sort of call or whatever else. So yeah, I think it happened. It certainly happened, but there's also plays where Jordan gets absolutely punched in the face. Like there's no LeBron rules. Like there's only
there is no LeBron rules. That's true. No one wrote a book on.
There's no LeBron rules. There's Jordan rules, right? Like let's figure it out, right? So it's to me, it's pretty easy. There's nothing that LeBron has ever done that has given him anything but like the king treatment, right? So that's the hard part for me is I can't get over the negative stuff that has come into the game with LeBron too. But I will never say that he is not an amazing basketball player, one of the best players of all time, but he is not the greatest of all time.
So Ryan, have you seen the HBO special of it's about the Dream Team? We Beat the Dream Team on HBO.
Mm-hmm. I haven't seen it yet. I saw some clips from it. I need to watch it though.
It's incredible, and my takeaway, and Rafa even had to agree, is that where and he gave LeBron shit for this, and this is 2 months ago we're like, it's the 3-point line that's ruining the game, no defense is that ruining the game, there's no position that's ruining the game. And then I watched this documentary on HBO. It's I forget what they call the team that they brought in, and they still call it the prep team or whatever. It's the best college basketball players to come and play the Olympic team.
Yeah,
and
they still do it too this year.
Yeah,
they did it with Cooper Flag and those guys last year.
So it was Grant Hill, Chris Webber, Hurley, Rogers. It was just Eric Montross, Houston from the Knicks. It was this incredible team, and they came in and they whooped up on the Dream Team. The first, and it's all documented. And Mike Krzyzewski has, I won't ruin it for you, but the competitiveness back then, I think you see the difference in today's NBA. Everyone is friends. Everyone's a homie. How's your family doing? I got this business that you should, you see it. You see it after every game. And I don't want to pin it solely on LeBron, but he's a big part of that culture of we're all buddies now. We're all, and that I think is what I have the biggest problem with LeBron, is that, what Kobe was a killer, Jordan was a killer, and LeBron, great in every aspect of the game, but he wants to be loved. And it's obvious that he wants to be loved, and not by just the public, but by everyone in the NBA. And I think that even more than the flopping, because you said something which I don't agree with. Without Jordan, there is no Kobe. That I agree with. Without Jordan, there is no LeBron. That I don't. LeBron is a different animal. He to me, is more like a Magic Johnson than a Michael Jordan type player. LeBron is not looking to take that last shot. He's looking for the best shot and is willing to give it to anyone who will take it. And that's why I think the Luka thing is working. But yeah, no, that I mean, Eddie Money, you have anything on this? Do you feel a championship and the level, because there is no debating that LeBron at 40 is more impressive than Jordan,
Anything.
Kobe, Kareem, anybody at what he's doing. That's not debatable. But do you think the debate for the GOAT, Eddie Money, who is your GOAT? Oh, wait, it's Kobe.
My
Bryant.
GOAT is LeBron.
Really?
My favorite player is Kobe, considering all the shoes I have, but he's not my GOAT. He's in like my top 3, top 5. But I think the best player to ever touch basketball is LeBron James. I think if he wins a 6 championship, most of the old heads are not gonna like Ryan said. Even if he wins one this year, he doesn't have a chance of being the GOAT. Yes, but I did see
because it's a longevity play though. That's what I'm saying. Like that's why everybody's like, oh, he's now the GOAT because he's got what 50,000 points. It's like Jordan didn't even play long enough to get 50,000. Just stop. Like there's just certain accolades that no one ever fathomed that people would be getting because they didn't think they'd be playing the game that long. Like the fact that he's able to do that is a testament to taking care of your body and just being a different type of player, right? Like that's the way that the game was played back then. Those guys played hard and they partied hard as hell. And she's damn right that Jordan is the GOAT.
Shanae said Jordan the GOAT.
Listen,
so that's just what it is.
Part of my argument is that if you look at the progression of, and I have to play devil's advocate, right? Because I do believe Jordan is the GOAT. But to see what LeBron is doing, to not play with the ball, to become a better 3-point shooter, to change his game at this point in time, to evolve at this point, it's just impressive. It's just, it's kind of mind-blowing to me, and Kobe in his later years and Jordan in his later years, they didn't do that. They were the same player.
But they did make the game bend to them. As you say, like LeBron is certainly evolving. And you have to account for his basketball IQ because it's tremendous. And he's evolving, becoming a better 3-point shooter, trying to make everything happen so that it's a cohesive thing. For Jordan and Kobe, everything bent to their will when it came to them being on the court. Think about those times in those interviews where Kobe's like, from now on, every time up the court, I touch the ball. I have to touch the ball every time up the court. And I understand, like, everybody's like, oh, like he's a tyrant and he's this, he's that. But like, that's just the confidence that these guys brought, is that they made the game better by having the ball in their hands, and the game was going to bend to their will, not the other way around. So they worked on their craft to make their moves better, to have more in their bag, but it was still their game that they were playing. They weren't worried about what everybody else around them was doing. And LeBron is that kind of guy where he may be the guy, but he's also going to facilitate. He's also going to be a role player sometimes. Jordan and Kobe were rarely ever role players. They were rarely ever role players, and that you just can't say the same about LeBron. Some nights he's going to be a role player, and not for nothing, but I get it. I know people are like, oh, old heads want to throw out Jordan's years in Charlotte, but like let's truly talk about this, right? Michael Jordan went to a terrible team in Charlotte that he was part owner of at this point. Kobe never left. LeBron has shopped all over the damn country in order to play with some of the best players. And then they're talking about him joining with Steph Curry and everything else. No one talked about Scottie Pippen the way they talk about Steph Curry. No one talked about Steve Kerr the way they talk about anybody else that has ever played with LeBron, right? Like, these guys are better than any of the guys that Jordan truly played with. They are, and they're held in higher regard. More so now than Scottie Pippen or Steve Kerr or any of those guys outside of Dennis Rodman, who is an absolute monster. So just spare me the talks of LeBron being the GOAT. He's been all over this country and all over the United States looking for the best team to bring a championship to and have an impact, and him saying that he's not the face of the league, then who is? Like, let's stop. You literally have the chosen one tattooed across your back. Like, you were on magazine covers as a 17, 18-year-old. Like, just stop. You've been the face of the league for a very, very long time. Embrace it, because that's what it is. Now, if he would have broken Stephen A. Smith in half, he would get a couple of GOAT points from me. But let's be serious here. Like, LeBron is always going to be one of the best players, not the greatest of all time, in my eyes. I can't speak for everyone, but for me, that's just kind of what it is. And I will always even bring in what Jordan brought to the culture and what Jordan brought to the game, all in that same debate. I haven't seen everybody wants to be like LeBron commercial out there. It ain't out there. A lot of these things ain't out there. What Jordan did for the culture of basketball, completely different than everything that LeBron has done for the culture of basketball.
Well said. I thought maybe I would get maybe, but
no, I will always say LeBron's great, but no, he's not my GOAT.
Before we, there's some good games on. We won't get into, but we got to wrap up. Since you have that amazing hoodie on, LA baby, let's the season starts. Dodgers are going to Japan, I believe the 18th.
Yes, and they just left today.
They just left today, yeah.
What I heard and what Dave Roberts had said is that there's rumors that there will be 1 million people waiting, like a parade or something, for the Los Angeles Dodgers in Japan. That to me is just wild. And the over under on Dodgers, I think what was it, Eddie Money?
It was, I think 105 wins.
105 wins, which people are saying. Rafa said, go
Easy
to
money.
the bank.
Rafa said it's free.
Free money, go to the bank, mortgage everything. To me, Vegas is always right around where it should be. The impact of the Dodgers going to Japan. Can you just talk about how huge this is? Can you imagine 1 million people showing up in Tokyo to greet the Dodgers? I mean, this is humongous for the Major League Baseball. This just goes to show you that, and I told this to Rafa, and he'd always fight with me. You need stars in big markets, and that's just the way sports and media has to work. What do you think the impact is?
It's tremendous. You do need stars in big markets. It's the reason that LeBron is where he is. It's the reason he left Cleveland to go to Miami, and then he's back to Cleveland, but then he's with the Lakers, obviously, right? Like, there's a reason why stars play in these big star markets. And what can be said about what the Dodgers are doing internationally as well as domestically, it reminds me of, and I just watched it the other day, of D Wade talking about when they went to Japan and he realized he wasn't as big of a star as he thought when he was with Kobe Bryant in these other countries, and how people flocked to Kobe. And it's just like, this is that LA just superstar type aura that these guys have when they go on. And obviously these guys, they have a ton of players that are literally from Japan, so that certainly helps. But they have turned an entire different country into Dodgers fans.
Crazy.
Like, it's just crazy stardom.
Wild.
So I think it's incredible for the game. I think what the Dodgers are doing in baseball is what basketball wants to see done with their game a little bit more. And obviously they have a ton of international stars. It's what the NFL is hoping that they can do with playing in other countries. The hardest part for them is that the game of football doesn't transcend, other countries. It's a domestic game more than it is anything. It's not equivalent to soccer. what soccer has a stranglehold on that international game
Yeah.
type style. Football, it's kind of impossible unless they continue to break into other countries and continue to teach the game. It's going to be really, really hard for the NFL to have that sort of impact all around the country. So it's certainly transcendent what the Dodgers are doing. And I love the fact that they're bringing more eyes to the game here in the United States, but that they're also starting out their season in the hometown and in the home country of some of their biggest stars and their biggest players, because they realize that by taking the biggest players and the biggest stars from their country, the people that they love and the biggest fans that supported them throughout their careers would no longer get a chance to see them up close and personal. And now they're making sure that they are. So always kind of giving back to the people that kind of made them stars. It's what even more so makes the Dodgers a bigger kind of box office, in my opinion.
Yeah. Have you seen the clips of basketball in Europe? I don't know if it's Slovenia, with the flares.
It's completely different. It is so cool.
Crazy wild.
When I was at Flow, I was running the Flow basketball website, and we had a lot of the EuroLeague basketball games. And those games, from the graphics to how the teams are, I mean, even international wrestling, going to tournaments in Russia, going to the world championships in different countries, even the world championships when it was here in the States in Vegas in 2015. That was my first ever world championships. The other countries that come in, their fandom for their sports,
yes,
because wrestlers are, their wrestlers in other countries is like LeBron here. They get
Michael Jordan,
they're Michael, like they get cars, they get money when they win. Like,
yes,
it is a very, very big deal. There's horns, there's music, there's chants. It is so much different.
Yeah,
it is so much different. It does not sound like your high school student section. It sounds like it is so much different. It's so cool. And the camaraderie between the fans and everyone that they watch. I mean, they used to come up to me and say that they watched our shows on Flow, and it was so cool. So it is very different, the international game.
Very cool, man. Well, our 2 hours is almost up. Any last words? Eddie Money? Anything you want to
Raiders,
go out?
Do something with the money, please.
Cam Robinson, go get Zeitler, the guard from Detroit. Go get the Cam Robinson, the left tackle. We need offensive linemen.
Yes, please do something. Literally anything at this point.
Ryan, I just want to thank you again, man, for showing up and helping us out. You got anything else going on? Athlete, any new guests on Athlete to Athlete?
Last week I had a girl named Carissa Maxwell. She's a sports reporter. She's in like MMA. So she was a sports reporter for like PFL and bare knuckle boxing and bare knuckle fight league and stuff like that. So she's a sports reporter for all of those networks. So go and check out that interview. Athletes to Athletes is on Spotify. It's also on YouTube and everything else. This week, I'm going to have a female wrestler on, Marley Smith. She wrestled at Arizona State. Now she's in marketing and doing a lot of other really cool things. So that will be out on Friday. Working on another project that will be out in probably about mid-April that I don't want to put out yet, just until we have everything confirmed. So that's another project that is coming. And then the Intermat Wrestling podcast will be out on Friday. We're going to dig into these brackets and these matchups of the NCAA championships that are next week. We're going to make some picks. So make sure you guys check that out. That'll be coming out on Friday of this week. We'll have another preview show next week as well to kind of dig into things probably a little bit further, talk about some of our favorite matchups, some of the seeds that we don't like. But yeah, there's a ton that we've got coming and that we're working on. But Falcons, go spend some money and get Trey Hendrickson, and everyone else, make sure that you guys are watching the NCAA Wrestling Championships next week, starting on Thursday. Daniel Cormier is going to be back on for the finals. Should be awesome. So far, from what I'm seeing from these seeds, are the way that I wanted them to be in certain spots, but I haven't dug into all of them quite just yet. But yeah, make sure you guys are supporting Sonny and supporting everybody else that is wrestling in Philadelphia next week.
Awesome, man. Guys, thanks again. Tiki Hockey Club, we love you, man. Your son's crushing it in hockey, the most expensive sport in youth history.
Hockey's so dope. A friend of mine is just got the women's head coaching job at Florida State hockey.
Really?
Damn.
Arizona State has like a good team.
Yeah.
Hockey's blowing up. But that's Two Nobodies episode 125. We love you guys. Thank you guys for participating. Thanks again. Congratulations, Jay, on the twins. I hope you name them both after me, even though one's a girl and one's a boy. But other than that, man, we love you guys. We will not be here next week unless we figure something out. I know it is what it is. But thank you guys again. We love you and good night.
Peace.